All right. So the assignment that we're working on right now is Show What You Know, Significant Individuals Part 2, right? This is a metaphorical interview. It's a way to kind of delve into the personality of someone who is incredibly famous and has since passed and is iconic in the U.S. history curriculum. So first thing you do is you open the 1920s bio cards, and that will give you a list of people. So open it up. We'll do the same thing we've been doing for a while, where you snap one thing to one side. This is the interview sheet. We'll get to this in here in just a second. Bio cards. So you take this guy right here, you snap it to the side. Then you take this guy right here, you snap it to the side. Now let's make sure we double check the directions. So you select one person you would like to interview, you read their bio card, right? Then you open the metaphorical interviews document. That's what I have right here. This is the metaphorical interviews document, right? And you conduct an interview using questions on the document, right? This is basically we're going to interview someone who is important from the 1920s in a mock style, right? Some kind of like fun metaphorical interview isn't exactly historically accurate. So we have a couple options. We have Henry Ford, the inventor of the, really the spokesman and popularizer of the mass-produced car. We have Marcus Garvey, who kind of is one of the first people who push, what do I want to say, African liberation, right? Post-diaspora African liberation. He's going to be instrumental in building momentum for the civil rights era. We have Warren Harding, right, who was arguably the worst president ever in American history, right? Deeply corrupt. Remember the Teapot Dome scandal. And we have Charles Lindbergh, okay? Now, the example they gave us is Susan B. Anthony, but the 4 questions you have to provide based off of their bio, right? If you were a bird, what would you be and by? What would you be and why? If you were an element, right? Fire, water, earth, metal, what would you be and why? If you had a superpower, what would you want and why? And what is one word adjective that describes you? So their example, if Susan B. Anthony were a bird, what would she be and why? She'd be an eagle because eagles are powerful, and she was powerful in her fight for women's suffrage. If Susan B. Anthony were an element, she would be, and what would she be and why? She would be fire because because women voting lit up the world. If Susan B. Anthony had a superpower, what would she want and why? She would want to have the power to fly. I guess eagle and fly is a little too correlative, but whatever. So you can travel many places, fight for women's rights. One word adjective that describes is determined. So we need to pick somebody here, and I will go in the opposite direction. I think I'll go for I'll go with Warren Harding, right? So what you do here, we take a look at his bio. So Warren G. Harding. Warren G. Harding, born in Ohio in 1865, was elected to the U.S. Senate from Ohio in 1914. In 1920, the Republican Party nominated Harding as its candidate for president. He was elected the nation's 29th president, but died in 1923 before completing his term. As a conservative Republican, he sought to decrease the role of government in the American economy and allow business to flourish without intrusive government regulations. He protected American business by increasing tariffs on imported goods. His hands-off, laissez-faire, approach to governing saw a reduction in government spending and a lowering of the income tax. He also worked with Congress to reduce excessive taxes on corporations. During his administration, Americans paid 1/3 less in taxes. Fortunately for Harding, he died before some notorious scandals involving members of his administration became public knowledge. Right? So, if Warren G. Harding were an animal, and this is referring to the Teapot Dome, he would be a snake because he betrayed the American population and liked to hide his corruption in the deep weeds of bureaucracy. If Warren G. Harding was an element, right? Harding would be wood, because his administration was susceptible to rot from its very core and plagued the American plagued the American national consciousness as he ushered in unprecedented nepotism, right? He was deeply corrupt. Let's see here. So we just bold our name, and we bold the animal. We bold our name, and we bold the element. If Warren G. Harding could have a superpower, they would want to have the ability to never show emotion or care, because this president did very little to help the lost generation and those who returned from war. He had record-breaking sociopathy when it came to ignoring the plights of veterans. Okay. The adjective that best describes Warren G. Harding is greedy, because he took the ideas of